It all began in this 4-bedroom colonial-style home in Cohoes, where Amy Kasaiwa lived a happy, simple life with her 4 brothers and loving mother and father, until the summer of 1988, when the sudden death of her father would set off a chain of events that still haunts Amy more than 2 decades later.
She was heartbroken by the loss of my father, and I don't believe that she deserved what happened to her.
But Amy doesn't know exactly what happened to her mother. She has devoted her life to finding answers. It's also the mission of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, though they have just 1 box of notes and no concrete evidence to go on.
Nothing that you really put your finger on. I mean, she just disappears.
After the death of her husband, Judith's life began to spiral downward. She began drinking for the first time. Haunted by the ghosts of happier times, she sold the family home in Cohoes and bought a duplex in Troy.
They put our stuff on one truck and her stuff on another truck, and we were like, what's going on?
Amy tells us with $250,000 from her husband's life insurance, Judith left her kids behind for a life 200 miles away in a small town near Lake Ontario with a man named Curtis Pucci.
You know, it was a source of pain for us to watch her go down this road, but I think that we also knew and thought that it would be temporary.
But according to both her daughter and the sheriff's office, it wasn't. When Judith Geurin moved to this trailer in Sodus Point, her life began to unravel. She burned through her husband's life insurance money, got in trouble for drinking and driving, and started writing bad checks. In January 1991, Judith called Amy and said she was sorry for her mistakes, and she wanted to come home.
Unfortunately, that was the last time I ever spoke with my mother.
In the months that followed that phone call, Judith missed court appearances. Chief Deputy Bob Hetzke says Pucci told investigators she moved to Florida to evade charges for writing bad checks. Investigators kind of stopped looking for her at that point.
Right, we had no reason back then to believe that what he was telling us wasn't true. You know, she was not in Wayne County anymore.
For 15 years, no one looked for Judith except for Amy, who had a hunch something terrible had happened.
I always had a feeling that she just didn't disappear.
Amy began her own investigation, desperately trying to pull pieces together. One day, she located an ex-girlfriend of Curtis Pucci, who, according to Amy, had given her one of Judith's most prized possessions.
I never knew her to take it off, let alone leave it somewhere.
Amy then called the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and a missing persons case was launched in 2006. But the Sheriff's Office had an enemy working against them: lost time. They tell us they tried to jog the memories of people who knew Judith in Sodus Point. They tracked her Social Security and her tax records.
Going to the extent that we went to try to locate Judith as a willing missing person, and not being able to find her in any way, shape, or form, really the next conclusion that you could come to that something bad happened to Judith.
In 2006, they also started looking for Curtis Pucci. They found him behind bars in state prison serving a 12-year sentence for assaulting his roommate with a hammer. He refused to answer any of their questions, so Amy tried to crack his silence with a letter. He replied once with a cryptic message: "Go pick up your feathers and we both may forgive you, but not until."
Obviously, he was trying to say something, but I don't really know what.
Now almost the same age as her mother when her world exploded, Amy feels a deep sense of empathy and an even deeper desire to find answers.
I just feel like it's my personal mission to bring her home and lay her to rest with my father. I really feel like that.